Aloha, y'all. I'm a little tired. There was a house party across the street bumping music till 4:30 or so in the morning. I go to bed around 9. So that definitely made it a little difficult to get some Z's, even though I was listening to a brown noise in my earbuds. I'm surprised on this quiet little street in the middle of nowhere, Costa Rica, some teenagers were allowed to do that, but whatever. So today is the 10th of April. Sunday, sun ruled by the sun, the 10th of April. The astrology is as follows. The sun is at 20 degrees, 36 minutes Aries. The moon is at 4 degrees Leo. Mercury is at 28 degrees, 47 minutes Aries. Venus is at 5 degrees Pisces. Mars is at 26 degrees Aquarius. Jupiter is at 23 degrees Pisces. Saturn is at 22 degrees, 57 minutes Aquarius. Uranus is at 13 degrees Taurus, Neptune's at 23 degrees Pisces, Pluto's at 28 degrees Capricorn, and the North Node is at 23 degrees Taurus. It is a Sunday ruled by the sun, like I said. I'm a little tired, but I'll wake up eventually. It is a Sahasrara chakra day, the crown chakra. Look at it like a halo almost, coming from the top of your head. The keywords are beauty, creativity, and inspiration. Positive aspects are a reverence for all of life, including house parties that keep you up until the crack of dawn. Self-sacrificing at the service of others. Idealism, an ability to see the appropriate route for the benefit of the higher self. Negative aspects are no concern for others, feelings of superiority, lack of contact with reality. The mantra is Om, O-M, Om, right? And you do that in the key of B. The spiritual activities for the Sahasrara or crown chakra are prayer, meditation, and reflection. Essential oils are violet, lavender, lotus. Plant is lotus flower. Platinum is the metal. The element is the cosmos. Musical note is B, like I was saying. Crystals are amethyst and alexandrite, and the soul lesson is to be at one with source. And if you look closely, these are all a bunch of Om symbols. So one and the all on the one, kind of all the way up. Turtles. Or in this case, Om symbols, all the way down. So let's go ahead and get a couple cards for the day. Hopefully you all are doing well. I normally get really good sleep, so it's kind of odd. I'm not even one to complain usually about not getting sleep, but I didn't get very good rest, so I'm feeling it. Hopefully my day improves on that front. So let's go ahead and see what wants to pop for the collective. We've got the 9 of Wands. So let me just set this down. Set these down rather. Oh my gosh, I'm all out of it, clearly. All right, so 9 of Wands. Okay, and on this Sunday, there's a whole lot of fire energy if you didn't notice. Sun and Mercury are in Aries, Moon is in Leo, so not surprising that Wands are coming out. Wands are fire, if you didn't know, it's your spirit, right? The fire of spirit, the fire of heart. If you're an Aries, a Leo, or a Sagittarius, you are naturally a wand. And 9 is towards the end of the cycle, right? So it goes ace all the way through 10. And 9 is as follows. Learning to build resilience. Even if you don't have much sleep, you still got to keep trucking on, right? Resilience. Learning to build resilience. Moving beyond the darkness within yourself. Pushing through the weariness. Can you hear that? You are almost finished, right? So don't give up. Dawn will break. I am willing to face the darkness and negativity. The 9 of Wands expresses the courage, self-belief, and vitality required to manage the pain and weariness endured in the ongoing battle with ignorance, judgment, hostility, and hostility found in ourselves and others, right? So that courage, Leo Moon, self-belief, Leo Moon, and Aries Sun, and that vitality, that life force, all that energy in the fire signs, like I was saying, Sun, Moon, Mercury, really pushing us through the weariness of a life where it can be just feel like Sisyphean and we're lost in the dream. Very Jupiter conjunct Neptune and Pisces, Venus and Pisces shadows, where it's like, which way is up? It's almost like the movie Waking Life, where it's like, life is destiny is dream. I'm just destined to kind of float through a lucid dream. That can get wearisome at some level. To see things through when others would abandon hope and give up. The art in the card shows a powerful street fighter in the throes of tackling something dark and foreboding, right? So we're talking about a street fighter, an Aries Sun warrior, throwing something, beating up something dark and foreboding, using that heart of the Leo moon to beat the shit out of something or whatever's going on. Ride it. Throughout history, religions, legends, and belief systems have described how shadowy supernatural entities emerge out of the darkness to interfere and ruin our lives. And I'm watching right now on Netflix an anime called Hellsing, which is basically about Alucard, a vampire working for the British government, fighting essentially eventually Nazis who have their own vampires. It's an interesting thing, but this is very much that energy. It's like the things in the dark that go bump in the night. You know, religions and superstitions and myths have always talked about these things throughout history, right? Like the darkness, there. That's like the dark. This looks very much like what Alucard does in that anime. Ultimately, though, these myths describe how the real battle to unleash our true creative spirit, Leo Sun, not Leo Sun, Leo Moon, Aries Sun, to unleash that true creative spirit takes place in the mind, Mercury in Aries. It is in the realm of the mind where we must face the supreme challenge, Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius, right? Where it's like, let's structure our mind well here. The internal voice, seemingly our own voice, which shapes our destiny. In the dark recesses of our imagination lurks the one we must do battle with in order to live life fully expressed. And right now, Lilith is the last degree of Gemini, so we are confronting worst-case scenarios in our own minds. Catastrophism. Our unconscious fears and trepidations, Neptune in Pisces conjunct Jupiter, the unconscious, right? And things we don't know about, delusions, illusions. Our unconscious fears and trepidations are visualized in the art as a jet black rip in the fabric of space, of reality, out of which a menacing mechanized hand reaches forth to propel a bolt of dark, malevolent energy that is very South Node and Scorpio stuffs. We see 3 gold teeth representing the possibility of freedom from the enslavement of the mind. Back in time, when a man bought his own freedom, he would display his freedom with his newfound, quote, wealth, by showing how many gold teeth he could afford. That's some North Node and Taurus stuff, Uranus and Taurus, pretty radical structuring of the value. Rendering a connection with the Devil card, very Alucard, like I said, from Hellsing. It's a very violent anime, if you just so you're warned. We once again notice the Emerald Crystal, connecting this card to the Emerald Tablet, denoting that this card is another gateway to the secret of the Prima Materia, the first matter, chaos, space, and the dark womb that births life. Rather than the possibility of this secret wonder, located beyond duality, falling into the hands of the devil, here it conveys the potential of incredible freedom. As described in Martin Rulin the Younger's 1612 alchemical dictionary, the prima materia is comprised of all colors and potentiality, all metals. There is nothing more glorious in the world, for it induces itself and it gives birth to itself. Aries, Sun, Moon, and Leo, right? It's like this glorious, all colorful, all powerful, object, transcendental object at the end of time in a Terence McKenna kind of sense. As in the works of alchemy, we too contain the potential for every color, every sound, every form, touch, feeling, sensation, and beyond. We too, right? It's all there. Sahasrara chakra. Like, the all and the all. We too carry that same directive to birth ourselves. So, therefore, this card is expressing a sign of hope, offering the possibility of being free of the most corrosive and debilitating force which stops us from achieving our full potential, the hidden shadow within our minds. Not only the personal shadow, of course, but the world or human shadow, the treachery, torture, and violence of the collective unconscious that in the past was projected onto gods and the movement of the stars. South Node in Scorpio, like the evil in our hearts, the evil of karma, whatever, the evil in the world. No army can equal the destructive force of the human shadow. This greater shadow, the transpersonal, manipulates and sculpts our small personal shadows, mixing our own personal misgivings, sorrows, and fears with its own, gathered from the dawn of mankind. We carry an inherited database in response to the burden of existence, spirit manifest in form. The Nine of Wands is inviting you to seek your own freedom from the shadow and interloper by shining the light of awareness through what your heart, your awareness, right? Leo, Moon, Aries, Sun. Witness the voice in your head. Know it isn't yours, but handed over to you in the act of birth. Life is the journeying into the world to uncover this voice, making it conscious so that at last the pain and restriction it causes can be dissolved, recognizing its falseness, tracing its origins, and then with grace and the grace of love, releasing and cleansing yourself of it each moment holds that potential. So very Moon and Leo stuff. It's like you could tap into the lightness of being through the heart, the fire of the heart, and the action of awareness, Aries Sun and Mercury in Aries. So be a light in the darkness and confront that shadow in yourself and the world. So the Nine of Wands, learning to build resilience, moving beyond darkness within yourself, pushing through the weariness. You are almost finished. And it does help to kind of keep in mind that all is one, right? Om, Sahasrara Chakra, all these little Om symbols. So maybe these are days of your life, and some days are really shitty, and some days are really good, and some days are just kind of not memorable, not memorable at all. But they're all creating the song of your life, right? And some of these days have deep shadows behind it all, and we have to kind of ride through that and not only tolerate it, but transmute it, like the alchemist was saying. So let's get a clarifying card. Hopefully, like I said earlier, you all are doing well. My lack of full sleep is, I'm feeling it, the weariness, right? So we got the Page of Swords. Notice how these guys' arms are almost in the same positions, actually. So, kind of, we're going to have to use our Aries Sun, our strength, and strength of heart too, Moon and Leo, to get through the darkness. But Page of Swords is a sword card, so it's your mind. Page is kind of youthful energy. I'll briefly kind of say what it is on here. Page of, past it. Page of Swords is I call you to live your truth. Very Leo Moon stuffs. Dazzling in the delight of your ambitions, Sun and Aries. Paying attention to your surroundings, questioning your reality, keeping an open mind, right? So we need to be paying attention to ourselves and our reality, because there are darknesses in ourselves and others in the world that manifest, that are there to be pushed through. But we've got to use our heads. The Headless Horseman doesn't have a head, right? We've got to use our heads in order to rise above and confront the evil within. In some abstract New Age sense, it's all good. There is no evil, right? But it's like there's still duality, like positive and negative polarization in the toroid of being. And some things you would prefer not to have happen to you. So we would want to get on top of this and deal with it. So it's like things like, starvation or nuclear war or, whatever, losing your mind, going insane, whatever. There's ways to avoid that by just kind of keeping your head in the game in a proper way, right? Mars and, I think Mars is at the very end of, I wrote it down, so I gotta check. Mars is at the very end of Aquarius with Saturn in Aquarius, right? So we're going to want to use our heads, but with all this fire energy, Aries Sun, Mercury, and Aries, Leo Moon, we're going to want to create value, North Node and Taurus, around us and in our lives by using our heads and heart. Head and heart together, creating the dream of the all, witnessing the all as the all, or whatever life is. I think we're going to laugh about it one day and just be like, that was a crazy fucking video game we were in. But until that day happens, we're still trying to collect high scores and not lose our extra mushroom lives or whatever. So the card of the day for the animal is Peacock, Prosperity, very much North Node in Taurus energy. Number 39. And it is as follows. Peacock. Prosperity. Prosperity is coming to you. A flow of abundance is on its way. Expect a new income stream. Clear the energy in your home or office, right? And that's what we're being talking about here. Clear the negative energy. This isn't like a joke in a sense. Like there's negative entities, negative energies, attachments, perceptions, whatever, that you have to use your head, as the Page of Swords is the clarifier. You have to use your head and your heart, Nine of Wands, to confront that stuff. Like, oh, maybe I should sage the room, or oh, maybe I should go for a jog and get sweat out of my pores so I release toxins. But expecting it, clearing the energy in your home or office, so like be proactive towards that end, creating healthier flow of energy in a kind of feng shui sense, or just normal life flow sense. North Node in Taurus. Do not be afraid of success. You can rise from difficult circumstances. And this is about confronting the difficult circumstances in our lives and rising above them. It's the end of that journey. Nine of Wands. Mythos. The Indian peafowl is India's national bird and features in many stories within the Hindu pantheon. According to Hindu beliefs, the peacock was created from one of the feathers of the mythological bird Garuda. The god Shiva rides a peacock into battle, very Aries Sun, right? Krishna wears a peacock feather in his headband, very Leo Moon, check me out. And Indra sheltered from his enemies under the wing of a great peacock and rewarded it by creating 1,000 eyes upon its feathers so it would not have to worry about snakes ever again. Very North Node in Taurus. It's like, I'll give you something of value to help you what? With the fears and the darkness, the snakes in the real world. It is the belief that peacock feathers bring prosperity to a house that links it with the benevolent Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the Hindu goddess of wealth, light, and general prosperity. Beautiful, long-haired, golden skin, and dressed in red, she is commonly depicted surrounded by 2 royal elephants showering her with a flow of abundant water, along with a river of gold coins pouring from her hands. She is sitting on a lotus, a flower that symbolizes an arising from difficult circumstances. Lakshmi is sometimes pictured with her son, the god Ganesh, who is the god of removing and placing obstacles. It's both and, you got to realize that, right? So the things that are in our way, right? I'm holding up both cards. The thing that's in our way is put there for a reason. It's not just arbitrary, and then we are to transmute and alchemize and move through that darkness. Her expression is invariably calm, graceful, and benevolent, which is sometimes the opposite of how we feel around money and our own finances. So Venus in Pisces, North Node in Taurus, we can just have a chill zone, smile about all things, and let it flow towards us. If you keep peacock feathers in your home, a flow of wealth will come to it, blessed by Lakshmi herself. This is especially important at Diwali, her biggest festival, which is also called the Festival of Lights. Oil lamps and candles are lit in every home, particularly inside and outside every shop and business. These lights are not only to honor the goddess, but also to draw her to the place for her blessing of prosperity. The feathers are also said to keep flies and other bad insects from the home and to invite vibrant health, right? So imagine this is like a huge fly. And it's like, oh, how do I get rid of this like swarm of flies? Well, in the Hindu perspective, calling upon Lakshmi and peacock feathers does the trick. Animal. Peacocks are endemic to India and Sri Lanka and other countries in South Asia. They are an introduced species widely across the world, so they're not native. You know, if you see them running around a park in California or something, that's not where they're from. The females, peahens, are smaller than the males and are brown in color. The males, the peacocks, have spectacular coloring and the famous many-eyed fan-shaped tail. Although there is some debate about the evolutionary function of the tail, it has been suggested that it indicates that a male is vital and healthy and a good mate, right? Aries sun, it's communicating vitality, Mercury in Aries, but it's also showing off a little, being a flourish, moon in Leo, North Node in Taurus, showing it has value. Although there is, so when we see a peacock in a park or a zoo, we may not understand what a heavy burden this tail is. But if you get a chance to see a wild peacock, you understand that dragging such a weight around has to make the peacock more susceptible to predators and more ungainly in flight, right? It's a wariness-inducing thing. So the peacock really does have to use its head in the dream, right? It's all good. I mean, the peacock is over here in the iteration of being with the Sahasrara chakra. It's got its own reason d'etre, reason for existence. But just because it's got a beautiful, lovely tail doesn't mean that it doesn't have predators that might kill it. Doesn't mean it's not like tired at the end of the day from dragging this huge tail around. Because the tail gets caught in brush and it is very conspicuous, right? Peacocks have a loud call and can be heard over long distances. The males have a sharp spur on the back of their lower legs that can be used in battle, very Aries sun, when they battle over females or territory. It is such a beautiful bird, but it is also a tough one. The magic, which is why we're here. Peacock magic is shimmering and rich. North Node in Taurus, Venus in Pisces. It is the energy you call upon when you need more abundance in all areas of your life. Like the goddess Lakshmi, the peacock represents beauty and pure light, so when you need to clear your space, call upon this iridescent power. Symbologies are eyes, tail feather, Shiva riding a battle peacock, peacock feather over the third eye. The statuses of least concern, there's apparently a lot of them, but we have the ability to call on wealth and prosperity, and that can look like anything from health. I actually have this water that I left out in the full moon at the end of Pisces season, so it's almost been a month. It's about halfway through because we're at 20 degrees or whatever of we're 20 days into Aries season. So this is the full moon right at the end of Pisces season. And anyway, I take a sip of this full moon water every day and say, to my health, wealth, and prosperity. Right? That's something like this energy. Now, is it going to win me the lottery? Who knows? Is it going to keep? I am actually getting more in shape than ever. Really, just kind of working out and eating well, but what we need to be doing is thinking that we can overcome obstacles, right? The prosperity is in the abundance of color and life. See how peacock colored he is, kind of? I mean, like a rainbow colored. And the darkness, the blues, the negativity. I mean, I'm not trying to sound all woo-woo, but it's like, the forces of evil in our life, whether the perceptions, mental, because Lilith is at 29 degrees Gemini. So it's like we're thinking worst case scenario in our heads. We're thinking without our heads, really. As the clarifier is the Page of Swords. We need to be confronting darkness, using our heads well, like screwed on tightly, towards what? Value, towards abundance. Really, you know, be blessed to be a blessing kind of thing. Like we're over here and we're like, I want to have a successful life. It's not just that you have a successful life in this sector. It's like you're quantumly entangled with the whole dream. So if you thrive, the dream is thriving. And if you suffer, the dream is suffering to that degree. So you're never alone in your suffering, right? Even if you feel like you're alone in this battle. But you have... So sometimes we feel like, oh my God, my depression, oh my gosh, my anxiety, oh my gosh, my poverty, oh my gosh, whatever. My actual enemies, terrorists, you know, whatever. The Bilderberg group, right? But we have to rise through this, alchemize it, using our heads, and call upon that prosperity, call upon the wealth, and be the change, right? We can't just wait for somebody to save us. We have to be the change we want to see in the world. And when we start moving in that direction, we start overcoming the shadow, we start transmuting it, and that's really when the flow of abundance comes. And we kind of sit back in the dream and ohm out more, right? We're like, holy shit, yes, it's great. This almost looks like a peacock if you cut it in half, right? So, let's get a hexagram. My fiance has popped onto Instagram, I believe. What's up? It's hard for me to pay attention to what I'm doing and interact, but if you guys ever leave comments, I'll try to respond. But if it's like an in-depth one, oh my gosh. So 62, balancing act, right? This is a pretty precarious situation. I Ching, 62. Let's see what it says. Well, that's not the right page. Oh boy. This is what happens when things are made in China. They fall apart quickly. So let's see. Any of these have 62? Nope. I'll deal with that later. 62, here it is. Predominance of the small. And hopefully it's not the predominance of the small things that we're missing. He's missing his head. It's a small detail, but it's a big detail. Or this small speck, stain on your carpet. They were like, oh my gosh, we have to throw out the carpet. It's like, actually just overcome it, your awareness, and get the stain remover and move it, transmute it. Predominance of the small. This sign brings to mind the fact that the small and apparently unimportant things are often decisive, right? This wouldn't be an ohm symbol, or this wouldn't be an image if it wasn't made for all these little images of ohm symbols. They're decisive to its effect. Or the the peacock's tail. It's a big detail, but it's a decisive detail. The drop which brings the cup to overflowing is a tiny one, but one generating tremendous effect. Right, and that's the bounteousness, or the prosperity. The cup overfloweth. So sharpen your eye for detail. And there's many eyes on the peacock tail. Sharpen your eye. You will then understand better the superordinate context as well. Learn to read what is written between the lines of life. It is not enough merely to bear in mind the great and significant things. It's easy to see the elephant in the room and be like, oh my gosh, yes, like nuclear bombs going off is not good, but it's also like, hey, how you think about how you stub your toe matters just as much. So it's not enough merely to bear in mind the great and significant things. Incidentally, your chances of achieving a great success are minimal at present, right? So you might feel battle weary and, we have to overcome this. And it's like, it doesn't look too good if you're not paying attention properly. But if we kind of get our ducks in a row, it's going to be okay. So quite consciously pay attention to the finer details. For instance, look closely at everything to do with relationships which you consider to be self-evident. Nor is there any reason to hide your light under a bushel. Quote, dignity lies in the simplicity of the noble, says a Chinese proverb, right? So, interesting. We're really balancing. It's very, like, the detail is the line, right? Look how much he could fall off on a major side either way. And I think the battle within is, sometimes we feel very weary. Like, we're like, holy shit, I could fall and it's going to fall apart at any moment and I can't overcome this. But if we use our head, even though he's missing his head, if we use our head, prosperity will flow. And we have to come to a place to know that even when we're in the darkest depths of our dungeons and we're, 'tis a flesh wound, we've lost all our arms and legs and we're, bleeding out, it's like we're still blessed. And that's the real kind of transcendence of the dream at that level, because then, sticks and stones can't fuck you up. And you kind of rise above the circumstance fully. Let me put this in here. And I'll deal with those later. All right, so last card. is the crystal card. You can quantumly entangle with this. You don't necessarily have to own whatever I'm about to pull, but if you do, plus 10 points because you're a gemologist or a rock hound or maybe even a Mine of Moria dwarf. So we've got Lemurian Quartz. Lemuria, right? This fabled land. So, Lemurian Quartz. And I bet most, I might even have some of this at home, but some New Age types probably has this. What is it? What it is? Lemurian Quartz is identifiable by its blushing hue and the ladder-like horizontal grooves that climb up its face. Its name is a shout out to Lemuria, a fabled lost continent whose highly evolved inhabitants, some far out folks insist, now live under Mount Shasta in California. Who needs it? Anyone in need of a vacation from their thoughts. Where to put it? Lemurians are like wands, and we got the 9 of Wands, right? Point them at a body part, friend, or any other crystal that needs more juice, needs more fire of heart, moon, and Leo, needs more prosperity card, peacock, but North Node and Taurus, Uranus and Taurus, a zap of prosperity, or, Aries sun, energy. Mercury and energy, the inspiration to make things go. Where to put it? Like what I said, when you need more juice, right? When to use it. Whenever someone or something you love needs a zap of healing energy, awaken your inner wizard or witch and cast a spell with Lemurian Quartz. It says, escape your mind. And that is exactly what the Headless Horseman has done. He's escaped his mind. Hopefully we're not escaping our minds too much, because the part of our mind that we're avoiding or trying to escape, because ultimately the negativity that we see in the world or in ourselves is part of us, right? We have to alchemize, transmute, understand it, bless our demons or whatever. However small those things might be, we might feel like we're, in the pit of Helsing, like this anime, and there's zombies everywhere, and we have no bullets left. But if we use our heads, prosperity will come, but we have to get out of our minds. And with the Black Moon Lilith at the 29th degree of Gemini, the last degree, it's like our minds are our worst enemy right now, right? Our minds are going to be what causes our hearts to stop working, Moon and Leo. Our minds are going to be what causes us to be indecisive and not act when we should, Aries, Sun, and Mercury. Our minds are going to be what causes us to see things as impossible or fantasy or not, surreal, Venus and Pisces, Neptune conjunct Jupiter and Pisces. Our minds are going to be what cause us to not know how to act in the transformation of the world, Pluto and Capricorn. You see my point, right? Our minds are what hold us up on the past, South Node and Scorpio. So use this Lemurian Quartz to escape your mind. And by escaping your mind, it means essentially confronting the demon. Like the only escape is forward retreat in a weird way. It's like you can't run from your problems. You can't run from the evil in the world, so you have to confront it. And the little things that you do add up. So use your brain and playfully kind of try to create a flow of positive energy or abundance in the direction towards the thing in which you're trying to alchemize and transmute. And realize you're part of a greater vision. Maybe your bad day is actually a really powerful moment in the scheme of things. You never know how the grander story is compared to your minuscule story and how they interact. Small kinds of words and deeds matter to other people more than you might realize, and the negativity that you bring and the negative thoughts. And trust me, I've been having a lot. I'm like, oh my god, these kids are partying till 4 fucking a.m. I can't get any sleep. That's a negative thought. I should have just been like, well, at least they're having fun and enjoying life. I would have joined in 10 years ago, right? Or there's a guy now here living, basically sitting around this kid, like where I'm sitting now. He kind of just hangs out. He's like, it's not his house, but he's hanging out here a lot, using the bathroom in the kitchen. And instead of being like, fuck him, I need to be more like, well, this isn't my house, so it's not my house to, I'm being shown grace by being allowed to work and stay here. He's being shown grace. We're both being shown grace, right? So that's how we confront this demon of negative blackness, right? We use our heads and ultimately, escape your mind, get out of your negative thinking to have that flow of abundance and prosperity, to know that you're fine. But if you look this way or that, that's when you start getting in your head being like, oh, I'm gonna lose my balance. And then you do lose your balance. But ultimately, in a weird way, we never lose our balance. We're all part of the big dream, and it's all good in some massive way, but the details matter while we're in the dream. So leave a tip if you've enjoyed this. Hit me up for a reading. $33 for an hour of cards, $88 for 3 hours of astrology, and $111 for 4 or 5 hours of both. And check out the Team Rabbit Hole podcast. We're almost at 300 episodes. Really trucking through it and having a good time, interviewing cool people like Stacey DeMarco, who made this deck, and the guy who made this deck, David DeAngelis. They've been on the podcast. Rupert Sheldrake, Richard Rudd. These are just people that come to mind. I said Andrew Jones the other day. Artists, musicians, movers and shakers in kind of the new creative domains that I appreciate. And that's why they come on. Yay. So check out the podcast, Holler for readings, and I hope you enjoy your Saturn's day as I will be taking a cat nap from not getting much sleep. I hope you feel abundant, prosperous, and well-rested, confronting your inner demons like I am myself. Adios. Have a beautiful Sunday. Bye.